What's up, guys? It's your two favorite Anthony Shoes here, me Anthony Shoe, him Anthony Shoe. Today we are bringing you a full comprehensive explanation of ROLAD Pile, from all the sub-engines you can play with it, what those sub-engines look like, and what those combos look like. Now, the first thing you need to know is that we are basing this off of ROLAD pizza theory. Once you have your crust, ROLAD, your sauce, Azamina, and your cheese, Mitsurugi, you can put whatever toppings you want on it. Now, there are some toppings we like. We like pepperoni, we don't like olives, but you can really play whatever you want in this deck so long as it works out. Now, the second thing that you need to know is that we are playing a smaller rollout package intentionally, and here is Anthony Shoe to tell you all about why the smaller rollout package is better.
Okay, so let's get onto the minimalist rollout theory. But in order to explain the minimalist rollout theory, we have to go over the problems with heavy rollout or a big rollout package. The thing with ROLAD is there are some cards that are very, very good in the deck. For example, you have Griffo, you have Black Chaos, you have Skull Archfiend Chaos, and you have the Graveyard Effect of Light and Darkness Ritual. All four of those cards are cards that you wish to be resolving every single turn in your ROLAD deck. And you wish to see these cards. Well, not the Light and Darkness Ritual, but you want to have a way to put it in the graveyard, so you need to play that card. But the full ROLAD package is loaded with a bunch of bad draws. For example, the aforementioned Light and Darkness Ritual, if it's in your hand, it's bad. Mind Shuffle. If Mind Shuffle is in your hand and you only play one Mind Shuffle, you do not have combo. If you play more than one Mind Shuffle, then that is more than one opportunity to draw the Mind Shuffle in your hand, which, as we said, is bad. And then if we choose to play both Ritual Monsters, then BLS and Black Chaos Ritual Monster are all just dead draws as well. And if you play any other rollout spell, like Chaos Magical Hats or whatnot, those are all also just dead cards. So right here, we listed like 3 good cards to draw, 4 if you count like Record of Rights, and we listed like 5 cards you didn't want to draw. So that's the issue with heavy ROLAD. So another issue with ROLAD is the engine inherently has redundancy. A lot of people act like more ROLAD cards mean more consistency, but at a certain point, you're just drawing a different version of the same starter. For example, Griffo, Black Chaos, and Records all lead you to the same place, which is the Mind Shuffle. But what happens if like you resolve the Mind Shuffle and you have the other starters in your hand? They don't get you anything else. Like, assuming your Mind Shuffle resolves and you don't have Habakiri, and if your opponent plays correctly, all 3 of them doesn't combo through an Ash Blossom. Like, I resolve my Griffo. I place Mind Shuffle during draw phase. I activate Mind Shuffle during draw phase because I'm playing around Drone Lockbird. My opponent hits that with a Ash or a Purge. I have both Ragged Record of Rights and Black Chaos in my hand, but because I don't play Mitsu, my Ragged cannot search Habakiri. So what do I have with the other 2 cards in my hand? I don't have any way to combo. So that's the issue, redundancy. Last but not least, the ROLAD deck, despite carrying a lot of bricks, doesn't actually end on a good end board. The pure ROLAD end board is just 1 banish from BLS, and if you choose to play Chaos Magical Hats, which is another brick, it gives you a negate that like eats up 4 cards on your board. So like it also conflicts with other end board pieces that require spaces on your end board. So therefore, we decided to completely forego a couple cards. We're not playing any other card for Griffo this set except for Mind Shuffle, and we are not playing the Blackluster Soldier Ritual Monster. Okay. That is the ROLAD minimalist theory. So as Kevin said before, we treat the ROLAD deck like a pizza. For example, the ROLAD engine itself, the 1 to 2 Mind Shuffles, the 1 to 3 copies of Black Chaos, 3 Griffo, and however amount of records, the 1 Ritual Monster, and the 1 spell is the base of your pizza. And from that point, the other engines that we mix into it act like toppings for said pizza. To make it so that the ROLAD deck has the best potential, we need the best toppings. So these are what we consider the core engines for our pizza base. So it's like cheese and whatnot. So one of the best ones is obviously Azamina. Take a
Now, what you have to understand about ROLAD Azamina is it's a very, very intuitive combination, right? Azamina shores up for a lot of weaknesses that ROLAD has. Primarily, Azamina offers a way for ROLAD to be able to actually establish an end board, right? It offers it the ability to link climb through DMOD. It offers it the ability to end on actual interruptions through Ilia Sylvia and whatever the heck you can do with Quartet and Bloom, right? And most importantly, it offers a little bit of redundancy, right? Now you have a bunch of really good 2-card combos that are not just Mind Shuffle combos. You have Diabellstar Send Skull. You have Diabellstar as a 1-card combo. You have Wanted as a 1-card combo. You have Deception as a 1-card combo, and you only have to play the one Hollowed Azamina as a brick, which is so much better than so many other engines. Diabellstar being able to send a spell card is super, super important, just because sometimes you need to get bad cards out of your hand in ROLAD, especially Mind Shuffle. And all in all, what ROLAD Azamina offers is a really comprehensive experience. You have turn 0 plays through Diabellstar and Gurifo. You have good starters through Diabellstar and Wanted, and you have good push potential through ROLAD. However, we can still do better.
Okay, so before I talk about Mitsurugi, we have to talk about why we decided to include another engine inside the base of ROLAD and the cheese in Azamina. It's because these two engines alone are individually fragile, and they're not that hand trap resilient. I'll give you an example. The Diabellstar cards, they actually eat every single hand trap. And like we all know that the ROLAD cards themselves eat a bunch of hand traps. For example, if you get Belled on your Ritual Add Back, you get Ghost Ogred on your Cross Sheep, you get Ghost Ogred on, you get like Impermed on your DMOD. Like you can't do anything. But it's the same thing with Diabellstar. If you go summon Diabellstar, assuming you didn't start with Wanted and your Diabellstar gets hit with an Imperm or a Veiler, you do not have combo. If you flip your Deception and your Deception gets hit by, let's say, an Ogre, you do not have combo. If you summon Diabellstar and your Diabellstar itself gets hit by an Ogre, you most likely still don't have combo because now you don't have your way to DMOD, you don't have your way to Souls. So the Diabellstar engine did a really good job at providing our engine with a bunch of redundancy, a bunch of bricks, and not a lot of like unique starters, with a bunch of starters. And that's good. 7 starters, 1 brick is a huge ratio that is good for our deck, but we need power. We need an engine that can help these two decks push through hand traps. And that, my friends, let me introduce you to Habakiri. So what does Habakiri add to this deck? Well, it adds a bunch of bricks to this deck. It adds 7 bricks to this deck, actually. We're playing an engine that has almost as many bad draws as good draws. And that goes against the theory that I told you for our Light and Darkness deck. But why are we doing that? We are doing that because adding Habakiri in our deck solves the biggest issue for our Light and Darkness deck, which is assuming that our Mind Shuffle goes through, our Mind Shuffle loses to everything. Well, if we go Skull Archfiend and we do not send Light and Darkness Ritual and add Black Chaos, what if we send Mirror and we add Habakiri? Well, let me tell you, it fixes everything. We no longer lose the Bell, we no longer lose the Ogre, we no longer lose the Harmonia, we no longer lose the only card that can stop our Mind Shuffle after we have Habakiri in our deck, just that one engine, is the Ash Blossom or Purge on our Mind Shuffle, which we would lose anyway if we don't have any other play, the Droll after we add, which we already lost to anyway, or the Impulse on the Ritual spell. Those are the only things that will stop that combo. Every other hand trap we can play through with just our 1-card Mind Shuffle, assuming we have Habakiri instead of the Light and Darkness starters. And also, despite us playing almost as many starters as bricks in this engine, like I said, 7 bricks, right? We play the Murakumo, we play the Futsu, we play the Kusanagi, we play the Mirror, the Ritual, the Great Purification, and then the... What's the last brick again? I forgot. But if I counted correctly, it is 7 bricks, and we play the 1 Habakiri, 2 to 3 Aramasas, however many you want, 3 prayers, right? And then however many pre-preps. But the good thing about this is all of our ROLAD starters are also at the same time Mitsu starters. So in reality, the amount of avenues we have into Mitsu is significantly higher than your average pure Mitsurugi deck, because that just is how it works, right? Therefore, incorporating the Mitsurugi engine inside our pizza. So we added the mozzarella cheese. This helps us in a plethora of ways. Number one, going second with the help of Murakumo, we are much more able to force through our opponent's board. We know that the Chaos Ritual cards are very good at board breaking if our opponent lets us establish the Chaos Ritual monsters. But the issue is, most of the time going second, our opponent usually has Fallen the Virtuous. Fallen the Virtuous is huge in the meta, and assuming our opponent has Fallen the Virtuous, we will not have a chance to establish Mind Shuffle going second, which means that a lot of the board breaking potential of our Light and Darkness deck does not exist going second. Therefore, we need an engine that can help us do something like that. So, for example, if we add Mitsurugi in our deck, suddenly that one copy of Record of Rights that's just going to go get Black Chaos, that's going to get hit by Fallen the Virtuous, that does nothing, suddenly adds us Habakiri. And Habakiri does not get hit by Fallen Virtuous, and we can use our Habakiri to push through the board to an extent where we can force out their back row via stuff like SP and whatnot, and we can go ahead and resolve our Black Chaos and bridge back into everything else.
Hey, it's Prof. Kevin here to tell you about the ROLAD Engine explanation. Now, let's take a look at this real quick. And what you can immediately tell is it's a lot smaller of an engine than you usually anticipate. There's no BLS ritual for the reasons for which we detailed in the beginning. And if you notice, it's only really 1 Black Chaos, 3 Garifo, and 3 Ragged Records that are your starters. Now, there's a couple reasons for this. One, what we have to do is we have to see the ROLAD Engine in this deck as a means to an end, right? While Magician of Dark Chaos and Black Chaos are incredibly powerful going second options, if you open Garifo, giving you ways to get to these cards, in most cases, the point of the ROLAD Engine, especially going first, will just be to get to Habakiri. That way you can get to your higher engine, more hand trap resilient combos. That being said, that means that this is all we need. Because we have a second ritual spell that we can send off of the Garifo set Mind Shuffle, we only have to play 1 Lightning Darkness Ritual. We still want to play 2 Skull because 2 really gives you a really good grind game. You can do what Luka Sako does, and you just take this out and you just play 2 Black Chaos instead. It gives you 2 ways to engine. It is technically 2 more starters. I think Skull Archfiend is like 95% of the time a starter anyways, but yeah, I digress. You can do anything you want. You can also play 2 Mind Shuffle if you're super scared of drawing Garifo and Mind Shuffle, but I think that's just the risk you have to take when you're playing 60 cards and a ton of bricks anyways, right? In any case, this is all you're going to see for the engine. I don't think any other pieces of the engine are necessary at all. I think 1 or 2 Black Chaos is a completely fine number to have. I think 3 Ragged Records and 3 Garifos covers the amount of starters you need for this engine, especially when you consider how many starters we're playing in other parts of this deck. And finally, I really just don't think you need the BLS Ritual in this build. Your end board is strong enough, and the half boards in which you normally end on BLS Ritual are no longer a thing because Mitsurugi plays so well into the Charmies, and under Droll, we're just never getting to the places that we need to get anyways. Anyhow, with that being said, let's get straight into the 1-card Mitsurugi combo. This one is courtesy of Biscotto himself. We start with Garifo. Garifo set Mind Shuffle. Mind Shuffle adds Skull Archfeed. Skull Archfeed, dump Mirror, get Haba, and from here on out, everything else is history, right? Haba, Saji effect, get Ritual. Ritual from hand. Summon Habakiri, Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, very standard Mitsurugi stuff. Ritual effect, go ahead and summon from deck that Murakumo. Habakiri effect, go ahead and grab yourself. I don't know, I think you grab, go Mirror Chain Link 2 so you can grab Prayers here. Just don't ever forget the Mirror effect in the graveyard, very important. Prayers, Tribute, Futsu, summon back Saji. Futsu effect to go grab Mirror, and here what we can do is we can hold the Murakumo here for a really long time, so that we all we're basically nib safe, right? Because at any point if our opponent nibs, we can just go Murakumo effect to search probably the trap card, right? Summon itself back out, and then Mirror effect goes summon Futsu, right? And at any point towards the end of our combo, we can just go Mirror Tribute Murakumo, summon Futsu when we are protected from nib. And so with that being said, we can just keep going. Normal summon, make Reaper-Dokus, turn it into a spellcaster, Demod, grab Magician Souls, send Diabellstar. 1, 2, Protect Code, Firewall, Protect Code effect, summon itself back out, Firewall, grab back the Diabellstar. It should be noted at this point that you can also do this a very similar line, except we don't have the 3rd spell for Selene, so you would have to tribute first to get the 3rd spell for Selene, and then you would be able to do a something in line as well. So, just things to know. Selene may also be a little bit more card efficient than what's going on here, so just keep that in mind. Always remember to make sure to use that Skull Arch Fiend for the bodies. We can go SB here just because we have no reason to go into Zena in this specific 3-engine version of the build. If you want to go into Zena here, that is also completely fine because you can just you can make the Zena. Firewall sent something else earlier, add an earlier step in this combo, make Zena send the what do you call it, the adventurer stuff, and then you're all good to go. Exact same line. After you get past the Demon Surge, there's just so many routes you can go. You have so many bodies. What you'll find eventually as you play this deck more and more and more is that in hands with extra engine, in hands with extra Zenascent, you find yourself doing stupid things like Zenascent Maskmaster Send Adventure, right? Or you can do even stupider things like Zenascent Droll, add back the Droll. It's just a lot of things when you start to get very creative with the bodies that you're given. But this is the simplest, truest form of the combo, right? We end on just enough, and on our opponent's turn, we have Mind Shuffle, we have Ilya Sylvia, we are going to have Mirror Tribute Murakumo in about 0.1 seconds here. Yep, so we have a Futsu on field, we have a Murakumo to search for the trap card, and so what we end up having is 2 Omnis, we have the Mind Shuffle for follow, we have an SP Little Man, we have a Murakumo and a Murakumo White. Tons and tons and tons of plays off of just that alone. So, yeah, that's how you really play the ROLAD part of this deck, and that's what you should be thinking about when you are playing ROLAD. Take that in mind. I'm handing it off to Anthony.
Hey, once again, it's your favorite YouTuber, Anthony Shu here. And you can see here we have a copy of Habakiri. Why do we have a copy of Habakiri? Because this is the mozzarella cheese. So my combo is going to showcase any way to Habakiri. So assuming you have a single way to Habakiri, that can be a pre-prep, that can be a Ragged Records, that can be any way to send Skull Archfiend to go ahead and get the Habakiri. But this is how Habakiri bridges into the other engines. So let's start with activating Habakiri in the hand. We will go ahead and take this copy of Saji, summon it on the field, and tribute it. Now, in the graveyard, we will activate Chainlink 1 Saji effect, which will add the ritual to our hand. We'll go ahead and activate the Mitsurugi ritual, declare that we are going to ritual summon from hand. We're going to summon this Habakiri. Remember, summon this in the 2nd or the 4th column. Do not do it like the 2nd time. Do it the 1st time too, because if you get hand trapped, you want your Habakiri in that column. We will go ahead and send the Aramasa and the Kusanagi on a new chain. We will activate the effect Chainlink 1 Kusanagi, chain block that card. Chainlink 2 Aramasa. We will add this copy of Futsu, and we will add back this copy of Ritual. We will go ahead and activate this copy of Ritual summon from the deck. We will tribute. We will special summon Murakumo from the deck. We will activate the Futsu, and we will add this copy of Mirror. If your Mirror is in the graveyard, like if you go ahead and costed your Summon Skull to add, you will instead here add the Prayers here. So I'll showcase one where, let's say you access it via Summon Skull. So the Mirror would already be in the graveyard, right? That way, because it's the same combo regardless if your Mirror is in the graveyard or not. You're going to go activate Prayers, you're going to tribute the Habakiri, you're going to add the 2nd copy of Aramasa, and then you're going to reborn anything. And because you tributed the Habakiri off the field, you can go Chainlink 1 Habakiri and you can go Chainlink 2 Mirror. That way, the Mirror goes back onto your deck so that your Chainlink 1 Habakiri can go ahead and search it. If you do not have Mirror in the graveyard, here is when you would just search your Mirror. And then you go Mirror, you would tribute this copy of Murakumo, and that would summon your Futsu. Now, your Murakumo would go ahead and summon itself, and we will add the Great Purification. This copy of Great Purification here is going to be what's on your end board. During this time, you can go ahead and get every single one of these off your board, and it won't matter because in the end, we're going to make Charmer Quartet, and Quartet is going to bring back one of these, which in turn turns on this. So this is like basically your reward for going through all these Mitsurugi cards. Obviously, you have another. You're supposed to have another Aramasa in your hand right now, but I'll showcase the important part, what everybody's here to see, which is you'll take this copy of Aramasa, and then any one of these, depending on which one you want to save, and you'll turn these two into the best card in 2025. I don't know. The Crop effect Spellcaster. You're a wizard. Effect Search Souls. Souls cost. Special. Let me count how many spells I have engraved. Oh, I have 3 spells. What is this? It's a link 2 on a level 1 spellcaster. I will make Celine. Celine effect. Gain 3 counters. Celine effect. Summon Diabellstar. And from this point onwards, we have successfully bridged the engines. And you might ask, how do I bridge even more engines? So from this, we get our Azamina stuff. But if you want to bridge even more engines, we have this card right here called Zena. And you have 6 link material here. And even more because you're about to summon Murcielago. So go crazy. This is how the Habakiri would bridge into the other engines if you have started with Skull or if you had not started with Skull.
Welcome back. It's Professor Kevin here again. It's a new day with a new engine. Totally didn't take a whole day to record the last one. That would be absolutely ridiculous. Today we're talking about the Azamina engine in this deck, and it's quite powerful. I've talked about it multiple times, and it's powerful for a couple of reasons. One, you always have discards for Witch and Deception because a lot of your deck is not really actually that powerful. Your deck is centered around really, really powerful powerhouse cards, right? Like Habakiri, like Garifo, like Diabellstar. So you will be drawing a lot of the cards that you use to enable these cards, right? You'll draw Mirror, you'll draw probably Mitsurugi Ritual, you'll draw Kusanagi, you draw a lot of cards that you don't want in your hand. So you are never at this like risk that some decks have where you're thinking about what you need to Diabellstar pitch. Additionally, all of your non-engine does absolutely nothing going first and almost nothing on the following turn after turn 2. So you really don't care about pitching those as well. With that being said, we get into the card by card. We have 3 Diabellstar. This is the best, one of the better starters in the deck. It is a turn 0 with Garifo, so you can set up things after Garifoing. It's really, really powerful. You can use it as a body for Mind Shuffle because of that fact. If you search another Wanted off of your, Murcielago, and there are cards in this deck that just like being discarded, right? Light and Darkness Ritual, fantastic one. Skull Archfiend, likes being in the graveyard. So all in all, Diabellstar, fantastic card. Wanted is just 3 more ways to Diabellstar that also happen to activate a spell card so that you can always go into Demod if your Diabellstar gets impermed. And a lot of the time, if you have spare bodies, you can do something with that Demod. In worst case, you go like SP Little Knight Pass, right? And Deception, really, really fantastic card in this deck. We don't play 2 because the quality of our starter is just so high. But Deception in general is very, very, very good, especially because if you open Deception and a Mitsurugi name, like Futsu, right? Like a bad Mitsurugi name. This is 2 starters in 1. It doesn't lose to Ogre, it doesn't lose to Ash Blossom. Deception Tribute, a Mitsu name, beats 2 starters. Hollowed is the required brick of this engine, and I'm including Magician Souls here because this is the primary way that you bridge and you link climb. I'm also including the link climb cards in the extra deck here. We can go by them one by one. Murcielago, necessary for combo. Ilya Sylvia is a negate on the end board. Demod is a way that you turn your Diabellstar into more bodies. Anima is to turn the souls into a way to go into Cross Sheep and then subsequently Protect Code and then subsequently Firewall to add back the card that you were sending off of souls. And then Quartet in Bloom is just, generic link slop, sloppity doppity does everything card. Let's get straight into the combo over here. Special summon Diabellstar by sending exactly 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. Activate Diabellstar effect, right? Diabellstar set Deception, activate just so that you can banish the Diabellstar for Demod, grab Magician Souls, send Chaos from your deck to the graveyard. Deception here tribute the second card. This is a 2 monster starter, a different combo than I showed in my last video, so you should really, really be paying attention to this one here. Summon Murcielago here, Murcielago, add Wanted, link these 2 off into Cross Sheep. Anima first, always remember Anima. I forgot Anima there. Look, we're crazy, I'm bad, I'm washed, I'm tired. Azamina, chain Wanted. Summon Ilya, Cross Sheep effect to summon back. Make Protect Code, make Firewall, Protect Code, summon itself back, Firewall, add back the Black Chaos, the same insane combo that you've always known. Black Chaos, get Mind Shuffle, get Skull Archfiend. In this case, you can also Skull Archfiend go for Mitsurugi combo now. So now we get to do the really funny Habakiri thing that you've been able to do for the better half of a year now, which is Saji, add Ritual, summon Habakiri, Chain Link 1, Kusanagi, Chain Link 2, Aramasa, add Futsu, add back Ritual, get that, we are skipping a step here, but it's okay. Add back the Ritual. Yep. Ritual summoned from deck. Use the effect of Habakiri to summon itself. Chain Link 2 Mirror. You always want that mirror back in the deck when you send it off of the Skull Archfiend. You will need it later. Summon back Kaba. Prayers, Tribute, Futsu. Get out of body. Futsu effect. Grab a copy of a mirror from our deck to our hand. And then, of course, we can link off for Zena. Here he goes, Zena sent Fenrir. If you are playing the other thing, right, you can, if you are playing, Adventurer, you can go Zena, send the Adventurer Engine here instead. And again, at this point, you are at such a critical mass of bodies that you can just do whatever you want. You can do anything. I think we unironically have enough bodies here to go Zena, send like Mind Master send Droll, then make SP, and then turn those into a Quartet in Blue, keeping the what do you call it? The Protect Code on field. You have to make a Selene first, right? So you can bring something back. Quartet in Blue, bring back Selene and Firewall. That way the Firewall is pointing to the Protect Code, and you can add back the Droll, but it's a lot of board space when you already have 2 Omnis on this board and ways to search for follow-up, right? So this is the insane board. Dia Bellstar does get you to probably the God board, right? And what you start to learn about this deck is that there is a certain point in the combo. I think it's about when you resolve the deception that you know you win the game. That you are going to end on enough interruptions that you could not mess it up. You could not place your interruptions incorrectly. There is no way for your opponent to bait out all of your interactions, because even if they do, you have Futsu follow-up. You have Quartet follow-up, you have SP follow-up, you have Zena follow-up, you have Skull Archman follow-up. There's just so much you can do, including that add draw line I mentioned earlier, or you can just go for Adventurer Engine like you're supposed to. It doesn't matter. And again, that's what pile decks do. That's just the combo of them all. That's Azamina. See you in the next lesson.
Hey there, it's your favorite teacher, Anthony Shu, back at it again with the Adventure Token explanation. So here we have 6 cards you can possibly play for the Adventure Token engine, and I will explain 2 different combos in which the Adventure Token cards will bridge into your other cards. So let's start with if you play Illegal Knight or if you don't play Illegal Knight. If you play Illegal Knight, the bridge is much simpler. Let's say we have one random card in our hand, and we have a copy of the Enchantress. We will go activate Enchantress. We will add a copy of Right to our hand. We will activate the Right, and we will summon out a token. By the way, when you're actually playing, do not put your token in the middle. Put your token in the 2nd or the 4th column. That way, you don't block your cross-sheep zones. Thank you very much. PSA. So now we have this, right? We're going to go ahead, and we're going to normal summon a monster. We're going to trigger Faithful Adventure. It's going to add us Draco back. If you do not have Draco back, which a lot of decks that do play the Illegal Knight, they actually do not have Draco back, then you don't have to trigger this effect. But that means that you will need another card in your hand. It doesn't have to be a good card, it just has to be any card. That way we can trigger our Faithful Adventure, and we can add our Illegal Knight. I will just have the Draco back just to showcase what happens. If you have another card in your hand, we're going to discard a card, and obviously the Draco back would re-equip here, but we do not need that. We will summon the Illegal Knight out to zone 2 or 4, and we're going to turn the token, and we're going to turn this into a Reprodocus. Reprodocus is going to turn this into a spellcaster. You're a wizard! And then we're going to go ahead and make this activate. Search souls. Souls, dump your Black Chaos or your Dia Bellstar or anything. And that is basically just everything. I'm not going to lie. That's how you bridge with that. You go effect, you dump, and then like this turns into Anima, and then these 2 go into Protect Code, and then these 2 go into Firewall, and then Firewall banish 2, some Protect Code revive. Yada. Okay, let's go into the second way we bridge. Assuming you don't play Illegal Knight, because why would you play Illegal Knight? You should consider playing that card. But what happens if you don't play Illegal Knight? So, if you don't play Illegal Knight, you will need 2 cards in your hand, and you will need to play Draco back. You will need to play Draco back, or else you would need 3 cards in your hand to bridge. So you would go effect, and you would add a Right. You would go Right, and we will summon out our token. And then we will go ahead and normal summon out our card. And then this will then add Draco back. And then we're going to activate our Draco back here. And we are going to add another copy of the Water Enchantress. Let me magically generate a second copy of Water Enchantress. Give me a moment. And she's here. Okay. So we're going to add the second Water Enchantress. We're going to discard the Draco back. The Draco back is going to go ahead and re-equip. And we're going to go ahead and activate Water Enchantress. Oh, she has another effect. You didn't know that? Yeah, she can summon itself. So now we have 3 link material. And one of them is Spellcaster. Coincidence, right? I know. These 3 are going to become a Celine. And Celine is going to see that we have 3 spells. That's why you have to play the Draco back in this version. So we go Celine effect, remove 3 spell counters. We're going to summon back our Enchantress. And then we're going to go 1 plus 3 plus any monster in our hand. And we are going to summon Zena. Zena is then going to send anything we want. So if we want to bridge into Mitsurugi, we will send Skull Archfiend. And that's a full Mitsurugi combo. And because we didn't use our Reprodocus yet, Mitsurugi then bridges into this. And this then bridges into everything else. So we would have basically everything. Very good.
Oh my gosh, it's me again and not Anthony Shu, and right here we're going to be talking about a much more important recent discovery to this deck that I really, really like. It is the Maskmaster engine. Now, what does this engine compose of? It composes of Maskmaster, Fleeting Phantom Maskmaster, 2 copies of Nightmare Hands, and 1 copy of Foolish Burial. I've included the Zena here for reference as to how you most often use Maskmaster. What is Maskmaster, you ask? Well, Maskmaster is a level 8 illusion monster that says, if this card is normal or special summon, you can send 1 Fiend, Illusion, or Spellcaster monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then you can make this card's type become the original type of that sent monster. This is the only part of that that matters. And the second effect, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 1 spell from your graveyard, special summon this card only once per duel. This is the most relevant effect of this card. Because if you think about it, this is just access to Adventurer Engine. This is just access to Skull, which is access to Mitsurugi Engine, and it's access to ROLAD Engine through, again, Skull. And the most important part of Fleeting Phantom Maskmaster is it is also a body. It means that when you Zena send, you get an extra body. It means when you Foolish Burial, your Foolish Burial is a much better starter now because you get an extra body out of it. And the best part of Maskmaster is because you are playing Mitsurugi cards, it just does everything, right? In standard rollout Azamina, Foolish Burial is barely combo, right? I think Maskmaster would just make it very, very barely combo. But in this version of the build with Mitsurugi, it is super, mega, ultra, super good combo. And with this, we have Nightmare Hands, which is a quick play spell, very relevant, right? You know, you can block Zaylan, which is super, super important. Sends an illusion monster from your deck to your graveyard, only Nightmare Hands. And on a different effect, you can, during your main phase, if you control level 5 or higher illusion monster, you can banish the card from your graveyard, then target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn. Now, how does this come up, you might ask? Well, if you open a way to Maskmaster, right? Like maybe you open it in your hand or you open like a Foolish Burial, and you open Nightmare Hands on your opening turn, right? You can, 1, if you still control Maskmaster after they hand trap you, you can banish the Nightmare Hands to steal that hand trap and then like make dark, right? Or 2, more importantly, if you make like an Azamina card, which are illusions, you can banish Nightmare Hands and steal a hand trap and then make dark, right? Very, very common use cases for these kinds of cards. Duo use cases are very important in a deck that is not able to play as much non-engine. Cards that can also act as non-engine is really, really, really matter. And now Maskmaster enables a couple other clever things. You know, it sends Adventurer cards, it sends Mitsurugi cards, and also we can send Jewel and Lockbird, which we can see here. But first, you know, 1 card Maskmaster, send Maskmaster, Maskmaster summon itself out, Maskmaster send Skull Archfiend, Skull Archfiend send Mirror, Mirror grab Habakiri. From here, the rest is like history, right? Standard nonsense, Habakiri summon Saji, Saji grab Ritual, Ritual summon Habakiri. Chainlink 1, Kuso, Chainlink 2, Era, But you can do some clever things here too, right? Mostly through hand traps, through Drone Lockbird, through Charmies. You can have some really interesting compromises because of Maskmaster. In this hand, we have 2 of the better starters into Droll in this deck, and Nightmare Hands. Now, this is super important because you draw hands like this all the time, right? Hands that have a couple engines and a couple bodies and a couple ways to play. You just need bodies, really. And because this deck is so weak to draw, you can have those and it still won't do anything. But in this case, you can see that we can do actually quite a bit through draw, right? Wanted, grab Diabellstar, Garifo. I'm assuming you're doing normal stuff here. So Garifo for Mind Shuffle, Skull Archfiend for Mirror, Mirror grab Habakiri. To be generous here, I'm going to assume that, you know, you have the little instinct in the back of your mind that I do, which is that you always start Habakiri. You probably shouldn't in this kind of hand just to play around Joel a little bit better, but starting Habakiri plays around like Valor a lot better, so maybe you're supposed to play around the Singleton hand traps a lot better. It plays around, you know, Fua better as well, so there's a lot to think about sequencing in this hand. Starting Diabellstar, I guess, can be a little bit better if you're playing around exactly Droll and Lockbird, because it allows your first search to either be hollowed or you know, Souls, and Souls is just another body, and hollowed represents an omni. So things to think about, right? Anyways, grab Ritual. Summon Diabellstar, set a card. I assume you get drooled at this point, so you cannot actually activate Dark Magician of Destruction. We Skull summon itself back out just for a body. Ritual for the Murakumo from deck. Summon a Cross Sheep. Maskmaster summon itself out. Chainlink one's Cross Sheep. Chainlink to Maskmaster to send the drool and then summon that as a body. Make Protect Code. Make Celine. Celine detach counters. Make Anima. Make Anima for fun, right? Technically, you don't need to make Anima here because you can just banish the Celine for the Protect Code. But, it's always good to have an Anima in graveyard. Banish, and then Fire will add back the draw unlock. Then, on your opponent's turn here, what you can do is you end on a Quartet in Bloom, and then on your opponent's main phase, you can go target Murakumo, target Skull Archfiend. Murakumo wipe the board, and then Skull Archfiend represents more follow-up on your opponent's turn. Mind Shuffle can add Garifo here, so that you either live, or if you think that you can, your opponent can't kill you through draw, basically no matter what, you can just do the standard, wanted, add a copy of Diabellstar, Mind Shuffle, add a Skull Archfiend. Actually, no, you can Mind Shuffle, add Black Chaos, right? Discard the Diabellstar, send Skull Archfiend. I think I demonstrated that here. And now, not only do you have everything that I just mentioned, you also have the Mind Shuffle side, right? You have 2 bodies in Mind Shuffle, which is kind of really annoying to and kill you. And as always with this deck, if you can make it to the next turn without dying, you are probably in very, very good shape. There's a lot of follow-up here. There's a Deception or a Wanted set. There's going to be a Black Chaos and another Black Chaos. One of them will be adding back a spell, probably either a Mitsurugi spell or like a Wanted, just so you have double access here. And then you still have like a Murakumo on board that'll stop them and a Drolls to stop them from playing more. So what Maskmaster really allows you to do is a lot of silly things just because it is a body that can also send Droll.
Okay, so I have dug up some Fiendsmith cards. So you might notice that they're not sleeved correctly. That is because they are not currently in my deck. Well, even though they're not in my deck, I will still explain to you why they're a decent option to consider for the pizza. So let's start with the main part. There is a card in the Fiendsmith deck called Aerial Eater. This card dumps any fiend. That means that you can go ahead and dump a card like the Skull Archfiend. Skull Archfiend, if you play Mitsu, is a 1-card combo. What if you don't play Mitsu? Well, you can still dump Griffo, and then 2 level 6s can become Ptolemy M7, and Ptolemy M7 can add back the Griffo. So there's actually 2 ways to bridge. Let me show you. So let's start with a copy of Engraver. Engraver will go ahead and add Tract. Tract will add Lurry and discard Lurry. Lurry will summon itself. You will link Lurry into a copy of Requiem. Requiem will then summon out a Lacrima. Lacrima will ideally dump a second Engraver, but the second Engraver is not necessary. The Engraver will then shuffle back the Lurry into the deck to summon itself, and these 2 will become a sequence. And sequence will go ahead and shuffle back any 2 of these options in the graveyard. That's why the second Engraver is actually not necessary, because for a long time I was playing this engine with just 2 Lacrimas or 3 Lacrimas and only 1 Engraver, because Lacrima is a better card to play around Droll. That's actually one of the best reasons why you should be playing the Fiendsmith Engine, because the Fiendsmith Engine gives you a card to play around Droll with. And that is also why I dislike Engraver. The ideal Fiendsmith package I will run includes 3 of this card, because this card beats 1 hand trap. Your deck also doesn't need a normal summon. Play more Lacrimas. Thank you very much. Okay, so probably shuffle these 2 back. Just leave the 1 Engraver engraved so you have some follow-up, because obviously you have this, right? And then we're going to go ahead and summon out the Aerial Eater. Aerial Eater is then going to dump either the Skull Archfiend or it is going to dump the Griffo. But for argument's sake, we're just going to dump the Skull Archfiend. The Skull Archfiend will then search for your Babakiri. And congratulations, you have bridged your Fiendsmith Engine into your Habakiri. And once you bridge in Habakiri, you have everything. Because Habakiri is everything. It's the best card in the game. Who would have knew? You have Zena. So Habakiri gives you 17,000 link material. Oh, also, a bonus. Did you know that this card is a level 6 fiend? This means that you can still go into Caesar. Yes, but you will need a Light and Darkness Ritual card somewhere in order to go into Caesar. So, well, you can probably, I don't know, do like dump something off of Zena or something, and then you can summon this card. Or if you play the mirror match, you can like, you know. But yeah, it. Alternatively, if you already have this bridge or you don't want to go into this, you can go effect dump the Rolad Ritual part of the deck, and then you can add these two back, obviously, and then activate the card, banish something, summon the Rolad card out, and then this card can still summon from hand. You just shuffle the Ritual back, and then this will be the 2-card Caesar. Where's my Caesar? Yeah, this is Caesar right here. He's pretty good. Good card. Also, even more, if you decide to play this engine, I would recommend that you play Reprodocus as well, because then you can summon Caesar here, and then you can go ahead and link something off, and you can go Reprodocus. And this is really fun, because you can go ahead and turn Caesar into a light. Now it's a light fiend. Now you can go like this. And now this is a non-targetable Caesar. And now your opponent's Fallen Rituals no longer outs it. And now you win the game. This won me a lot of games in Nats. Thank you for coming for my TED Talk.
Well, fellas, it's been a good time. Me, Anthony Shu, and him, Anthony Shu. I've had a great time teaching you how to play this deck. If you need anything else, put it down in the comments below. DM either of us on Discord. We're happy to respond. Or on Twitter. Get me on Twitter more often. I don't stay on Discord at all. And have a great one.
A great one.